With that being said, game number 1 is up. On the right side of the map, we do have MarineLorD as the English in blue. To the left, it's going to be Vortix as the red Delhi. And without hesitation, he's moving up to build that dock right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Going for forsaking the early house is going to be allowing him to set that up very, very quickly. And man, I am quite curious to see if we're going to be seeing a river wall off as well. So as you've probably seen, you can essentially set up a wall across the pathway and you can block enemy boats. So I think that if the English are going to be playing the water, I would imagine they'll set up their dock up in the northeast kind of quadrant of the map there and then just maybe wall out the Delhi fishing raid. What do you think?
It's always a possibility, although it seems like in the first place we're just going to see 2 scouts from both players trying to even deny the dock of the opponent. It looks like MarineLorD changed his mind. He went for the duel to make a dock, but then he just decided to fall back. So looks like MarineLorD might give up on the water as it is.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. It was like what we were talking about early. England can go for that food boom. And again, the dock does somewhat delay your tier 2, right? Your H2. And the first fishing boat looks like it is coming out up in the northwest. I wonder how aggressive Vortix will be with the fishing, but I think he has scouted and sees that MarineLorD isn't going to be playing the river, so probably just going to fish quite happily there.
MarineLorD actually has a 3rd scout over here, which obviously means that he sacrifices villagers, because he needs to make them on the town center. But in the end, he decides to go for the pond. But as you said, you already have 1 fishing ship out here for Vortix, and he only added 1 scout, so his economy will be a lot more powerful at the beginning here.
Yeah, absolutely. Triple scout, pretty aggressive, and you can also look in MarineLorD's base just as a tell as what he's kind of planning to do. We're not seeing early gold, so it doesn't look like it's going to be a fast feudal, and I think he is going to be committing to the river. And longbows, can defend it pretty well. In my experience, usually from the games I've seen, the Great Delhi fishing raid, it comes like as they're transitioning to the second age. Sometimes Delhi will pull some lumber and go over to the berry bushes to compensate for that food loss. But in your experience, when have you seen the Delhi fishing boats go on their great raids?
Usually, as you said, it's in the transition period, simply because a single fishing ship doesn't do a lot of damage. So you need like 4, 5, 6 fishing ships to really start delivering a decent enough damage output that even is more than the repairability of the opponent's dock. So you just need a lot of time to get those fishing ships out, and usually by the time you get to that required number, it's already the transition to feudal age.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the docks, for anybody who's new to the game, essentially give constant healing to nearby ships. So you do need, I think 3 just barely does more damage than healing, but again, that's not really efficient. So like you said, I think you need like 4, 5, or 6. Now, for the Delhi base, we are seeing the early forestry coming out. No mosque yet, so the efficient production isn't going to be coming up super quick. And that is pretty common. After the nerfs to Delhi Sanctity, it seems in my experience that a lot of people, especially on these hybrid maps, will just forsake the mosque and they'll build that on their way to the second age and then start getting efficient production, which doesn't take too long. That was kind of the big change. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Delhi did get some of their earlier techs like forestry and the wheelbarrow do go a little bit faster, but some of their late game techs obviously are still a little bit bugged, do take quite a bit longer.
Indeed. So in the end, it doesn't take that much longer to grab that sanctity, but obviously at this point the priority is getting those numbers out. So you prioritize having your first combat ship out, potentially a stable for horsemen, instead of prioritizing that mosque that early. And it looks like MarineLorD is going to try and deny that gold mine.
Yeah, it's kind of lurking back there with the double scouts, and it looks like the TC is just out of range to protect that bad boy. So it's going to be pretty annoying for sure for the Delhi. I wonder if they're going to build some sort of an outpost or an early barracks to maybe try and pressure that. But it looks like he's just going to stay the course. He hasn't set up a mining camp yet. There comes the mining camp. And down for the English, it looks like they're now setting up their mining camp as well. So very, very similar timings here.
Indeed, it's the case, and Vortix will have to pull his own scouts back to protect that gold miner. Otherwise, his feudal age will be delayed thanks to those scouts.
Yeah, that would be pretty aggressive for sure. But one of the cool things about Delhi is even if their feudal age is a little bit delayed, their fishing boats with great numbers, the great Zerg of fishing boats can defend against some early warships. Granted, it's not super effective, but you still can defend yourself. So look at the scouts. The 2 scouts here from MarineLorD getting very aggressive, almost getting a scout kill here actually on Vortix early on.
Indeed, at this point, getting a scout kill could be massive because you can heal up your own scouts, and it looks like Vortix is the one getting away with that kill, and now he's just gonna run away and heal up. That's definitely an advantage there for him. As on the other side of the map, MarineLorD actually adds another scout. One is coming forward as he's walling off the crossing to prevent that Delhi Zerg that you mentioned from flooding his fish.
Yeah, this is a great play for sure, and this will prevent the Delhi from coming in. And another thing that's really strong about this, if the Delhi is kind of, they have their scouts back here playing defensively. So right now, probably Vortix doesn't even know that that wall is taking place. So he might just go for the fishing raid, sail all the way over there, and then realize suddenly that he has lost a lot of mining time and he's going to be a little bit behind from that. Now, it looks like we are getting our Age 2 landmarks. We do have the Dome of Faith coming out for the Delhi, which produces scholars at 50% less cost, very good for filling up the mosques. And I would imagine that very, very soon here, you can see the banked resources from MarineLorD only needs 10 more gold, and we will be seeing the old Council Hall.
Indeed, Council Hall coming in as expected. And we do have a defensive tower coming up from Vortix at the back of his fishing eco. It's so common that you're applying pressure either with longbows or with a forward tower to those fishing ships that that preemptive tower is going to help a lot, just keeping that fishing eco safe.
Yeah, and that was kind of something that you and I were talking about before the game, right? Just how efficient longbows can be at raiding the river. Because the Delhi fishing boats, their tile range is 4, and I believe longbowmen are like 6 or 7. Can you do you know the exact answer to that? I
should
think
be
it's
7.
around that. Yeah, it's 7. So they're able to massively outrange those boats and really put a lot of hurt. So I do like this quite a bit from Delhi. And to the back, we still have a little bit of harass. There's one brave scout here from MarineLorD doing some work. And quick question, have you ever seen an English player in high-level play, so kind of this caliber of play, go with the other landmark? The one that gives the healing. Have you ever seen that? And actually seen it good?
I've never seen that. Like, the Council Hall is just so effective. You can flood longbows
so
up very easily. It's one of the 2 landmarks going up the Feudal Age that allows you to produce units on it, so you don't have to invest into any kind of land production building, like a stable or a range yourself. So it's sort of a 2-in-1 package.
It's just too good. It's too good. And if I'm not mistaken, the Council Hall does produce longbowmen faster, but doesn't it also do the upgrades a little bit faster? So the veteran, the campfire, as well as the volley of arrows?
It's possible. I don't actually know. It definitely produces longbows a lot faster, though, so the production time is reduced quite considerably. So that by itself is already a massive advantage. The veterancy upgrade obviously is only relevant in Castle Age, so the only upgrade that's meaningful in Feudal here is the campfire.
Absolutely, and we still have a little scout duel. Here, the scouts of MarineLorD are going to be hunting down the scout of Vortix as it moves over, I think, to garrison in the outpost, because we're getting pretty close to that longbow time, and the Council Hall only needs about 300 more to be finishing here in terms of HP. And in terms of the fishing economy, right now we are rocking 10 fishing boats here for the English, and for the Delhi, we only have 9, so a slight lead for Vortix, despite having his dock a little bit later. Or, excuse me, for MarineLorD.
And he actually had the second dock, so he feels very confident with his water boom, going for that wall and just going for double docks here, whereas his opponent is just staying on 1 dock, but we are going to see a Dow coming out to try and pressure that wall, but as you said before, Vortix probably doesn't even know that that wall is there, so he's going to be in for a nasty surprise.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it's still, even if your opponent does do the old dreaded river wall off, I really do like to have a single combat ship just for control. So, for example, if there's going to be heavy longbow pressure, you know, the Dow can just sit on the river choke and defend against those longbows for quite some time. Even though they can range it, the combat ships still do have pretty decent little ranged armor of, I think, 4. So the longbows will only be hitting for like 2 damage here in the Feudal Ages, right? So it looks like he's not even moving the Dow over to harass. As a matter of fact, he's just parking it in the middle of the choke here, which I do like quite a bit.
Meanwhile, looking at Mr. MarineLorD, he's getting close to Castle Age here. That fishing eco is starting to kick in. So is Mr. Vortix. So at this point, it's going to be a race to Castle Age, and that's where the English could start to struggle here if they only go for longbows, because the Delhi will go for men-at-arms.
Yeah. The Delhi men-at-arms, man, they used to be so much stronger. Unfortunately, the curved blades, I forget what the actual upgrade is called off the top of my head, but the upgrade for the curved blades from the House of Learning was so meta for Delhi before. It used to obviously research pretty quickly and give them a huge leg up in those kind of Castle Age battles in the early points. But now I've noticed that most Delhi players go for the House of Learning. I'm quite curious to see what Vortix is going to be doing, because with House of Learning, there's some really, the Compound of the Defender. There's some crazy pressure you can put on your opponent with stone. So you can set up these miniature stone walls, and you can build the stone wall towers on top, which have those, still old school spring Alden placements that do 60 damage. And man, oh man, you can set those up along the river. You can pop enemy fishing boats. You can put your archers up on top of them. And I feel like it's a very, very strong strategy.
Especially if you consider that there is only 2 sacred sites to control, so once you fortify the one in the island, you can just focus all your efforts on the other one and force your opponent to make a move. House of Learning it is, though, from Vortix, whereas on the other side we do have the King's Palace coming in, so the obvious landmarks, and wait a second, that wall wasn't finished from MarineLorD, that's a disaster.
Oh no, the boat has gotten through! Man, that's going to be really tough. I would imagine he's going to be canceling whatever he's building there and immediately getting a couple galleys, or at least one. He's going to have to fight this. Although it looks like the Tao of Vortex is not attacking the fishing boats. Okay, there it goes. Now it's attacking the fishing boats. With good micro, MarineLorD can hide the ones that are getting low. It's going to take a lot of his APMs, but again, I think he should be able to do it. And you can see right there, he does hide one of the fishing boats in there. All is good in the realm, and it seems like he's pretty cozy. Now, is he producing any warships? No. Are there any Strelbora coming out? Any long women to defend? It doesn't look like it. Very, very kind of casual response against that there.
It's just one Dao, and he does finish the wall. That's probably the most important thing, so there's no more combat ships coming in here.
Now. Yeah, he's trapped in the cage with the old English fishing fleet here. And are there any combat ships coming out? No. Any long women? Man, he's just going to be microing all the way through this. It looks like he did lose a fishing boat, though. The Dao is actually getting a little bit of work done here.
Absolutely. And even if it doesn't kill the fishing boats, idle time is already a decent accomplishment. So this is definitely annoying for MarineLorD, and he's going to need some sort of combat ship to come out. Looks like he decides to go for a Hulk here.
Yeah, that makes sense. He got Castle Age. The Hulk, I mean, if you got a galley, it would be kind of a wet noodle contest for like, a good 5 minutes. They would just be battling. But a Hulk is going to be able to Hulk smash and definitely get some good work in. And despite the fact that, Hulks are a little bit slower, should be fine. Looks like there's a second Dao sitting at the gate. He's like, let me in. Just kind of lurking there. But what are we going to be seeing from the House of Learning? So it looks like we do have the Honed Blades coming in. So this is the buff for the Men-at-Arms, which buffs their damage for Men-at-Arms and Knights. But you can see how long it takes, a whopping 13 minutes. I feel like that isn't quite intentional, but, by the time you get that, these guys are going to be in the Imperial Age,
Although, that is with just one scholar garrisoning that mosque, so part of the reason why it's so slow is because there's only one scholar in there. Dao goes down, and this should secure MarineLorD's fishing eco. He still has quite a lot.
Yeah, he's still in a pretty cozy position overall. I mean, I don't think that was terribly devastating. It did force a Hulk out. So Hulks aren't cheap. They cost 300 wood and almost 300 gold as well. So I would say overall that was a very, very good play there for Vortex. He was able to force out a Hulk. And overall not bad at all. So it looks like the Men-at-Arms are coming out. And we do see the first Men-at-Arms kind of surging across the river here. And Delhi Men-at-Arms are also very good at diving on missiles and siege because Delhi can get the Forced March upgrade. Are we seeing that come out of the Blacksmith yet? No, it looks like we're seeing Bloomery, but the Forced March I'm sure will come in time and really allows him to hunt down Spring Alds and Mangonels and things like that.
Speaking of hunting stuff down, we haven't talked about the fact that MarineLorD has a sneaky dock up north and he's trickling in demo ships into the fishing eco of the opponent.
Oh, yeah, you can see the first one's going down there. It was so sneaky, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, it's up here, and here comes another one. I think Vortex is very aware of the demolition ships, but I'm surprised we didn't see like a proxy Hulk as well. I feel like a Hulk sailing down the river would have been problematic, although I guess the demo ships of the Delhi could respond, oh, we're going to have a clash here in the river. Who will win? Looks like it's a bit of a wash there. Yes, the two demo boats do go down.
Yeah, at this point, Vortex is more than happy to just trade off those demos and then wall off this northern side. Although, with a new demo coming in, he could actually lose those villagers. That's a little risky.
Yeah, it would be a little bit problematic. I think that Vortex will respond. I think he's going to see it coming. He's obviously seen it coming. He had the Men-at-Arms over there, but the wall could get hammered as well. Now, the demo ships do 300 base damage, and the walls do have 1,500 health, so it's not going to be able to get through, but 3 villager kills isn't bad. Oh, is he going to get away? Man, he just barely got away. I think 1 villager went down there. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. And now the explosive Tao of the Delhi is going to be heading down the river, as we do have a little bit of mortal combat. The Hulk Smash is battling the poor Delhi combat ship. Do you think that this Tao is going to be connecting with the Hulk here?
Very much seems like it, as the demos will just finish off that Hulk out there. Poor Hulk just got slaughtered. We got some Lancers coming into the left side by MarineLorD, so he does have some mobility to raid the gold mine of his opponent. Vortix only has 1 spearman defending it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that same note, though, he just rode right past that scholar. If you look on the southwest of the river, that brave Delhi scholar, the true alpha of his civilization, going to be bringing it back to the base here. And what do we have in terms of relics for both players? I think that is going to be the first relic for the Delhi. And taking a look down at the English, it looks like they do not have any relics yet. I don't know if he's even produced a monk out of the monastery, but yeah, that can be really big in the late game, especially for Delhi, because they're going to have to compete against English enclosures, right? England basically has like infinite gold hacks, whereas Delhi, can run out a little bit. There are some good trade options on this map, but I think getting relic control for the Delhi is going to be super important.
Conversion attempt coming in here for Vortix, but that's going to be a failure, as he's taking control of both sacred sites, though, so suddenly MarineLorD will be on a timer, and it's not like MarineLorD has a huge army to push either of those sacred sites with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Lancers could be relatively decent against the Men-at-Arms for sure. Looking at MarineLorD's base, he is going pretty heavily into cavalry, right? So we see 6 Lancers sitting in his main base here. Could probably push him off the Sacred Site in the middle pretty easily. Although, this is one of the reasons why I really like Compound of the Defender. Like, for example, if you had a single Men-at-Arms up on the high ground, he could just stonewall that off. Here we do have the triple explosive down, moving down the river towards MarineLorD's base. But there is that wall off, of course. Is he going to try and bunker bust that wall, do you think?
It's possible, but we got some demos coming in here as well for MarineLorD, so I don't think he should be able to get through.
Oh my god, okay, 1 for 1 there. I thought it was going to be a 3 for 1 for a second. I was going to be like, ooh, that would have been pretty rough for sure. But in the middle, you can see, look at this. We have the Scholar healing the Men-at-Arms, and he's actually able to defeat the Knight. And yes, the 2 demo ships are just kind of guarding the pass right now. And man, have you had any games like that where you just had your entire army smashed by 1 or 2 demo ships?
I didn't have a lot of games like that, and I don't even want to have one. Down south, we do have a Knight from MarineLorD just completely chilling and ignoring that Scholar right on the Sacred Side.
Oh, that hurts my soul, man. He's probably a little bit busy up in the north. Looks like some of his Knights as well as some scouts were doing a little bit of harass on those berry bushes. But now the Knight's in the middle for the great MarineLorD, the champ here, able to take down the Men-at-Arms. I think we're going to need to see a tech switch. I mean, the Men-at-Arms aren't going to trade super well versus the Knights, so I think you need to back them up with crossbows or switch to spear crossbow. But again, I think MarineLorD's waiting for that, because as soon as he starts to see the spear transition, he'll probably come out with longbows, I would guess.
Yeah, he's got a very, very fast tech switch over here, because he's got the council hole to spam longbows from. And behind this one, remember, he's on 2 town centers. So if you look at the villager count, it's already 83 for MarineLorD. Vortix is at 56, so decisive eco lead for MarineLorD here.
Yeah, and that's usually the case. I mean, most Delhi players, in my experience, stay on one base for a really long time, and where they kind of compensate for that. A little bit of a fight up north, you can see the Knights charging in, and they are able to hammer into those Men-at-Arms. The Men-at-Arms are unsupported. I would say MarineLorD getting a huge advantage. Those spearmen standing there enjoying those berry bushes a little bit too much, not helping out the boys. But yeah, that's going to be a pretty brutal loss. I mean, Men-at-Arms aren't super expensive, but still, I don't think he got a single Knight for that trade there.
Nope. The spearmen will be able to take down some of the Knights coming in, though, so for now those Knights won't be a factor. But at this point, MarineLorD just needs to apply pressure and make sure that his opponent can just have an untouched boom, and he will have a decisive eco advantage. So at this point, MarineLorD's army numbers will skyrocket as he's adding longbows now. Knight and longbow will be difficult to deal with here for Vortix.
It really will. And you know what I would love to see? What would be the best early Christmas present ever would be a giant Tower War Elephant. Oh my god, they're so cool. But in my experience, like we were saying before, some of that hot action right there is Delhi typically likes to stay on one base. I mean, of course, if it goes Imperial, it gets really crazy. Sometimes you'll see a couple TCs coming up, but they compensate for their kind of lower villager count by having the sacred sites, right? Because Delhi does have the sanctity upgrade, which of course isn't as good as it was before, but sacred sites generate 100% more gold. So Delhi's going to be getting 200 gold a minute from sacred sites, where the other civs get only 100. So that could be really nice and help them compensate for the lower workers. And we got more knights from MarineLorD going around the northwest of the base. Oh no! You better put that relic away. He's going to be losing a little bit of gold. Maybe the Wololo here?
It's always an option, although from my experience, the Wololo is very, very difficult to pull off because your opponent gets a notification and there's just too much time to run away from that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Wololo is a little bit better in the potato leagues, like some of the lower brackets, but with guys at this caliber, it's going to be very tough to pull off. I think a couple times I've seen the Wololo do well in high-level games when it's not used in combat. So if there's like a distraction, let's say like a big battle, a very pivotal engagement, and you see the Wololo be used to steal villagers. I've seen that a couple times, but oh, look on the southwest, we have all these villagers getting massacred by the knights. That is a brutal loss right there. That
is a massive loss out there. That's like 6 villagers going down. And currently what Vortix doesn't have is mobility. He's only defending with spearmen, has to mass migrate all his lumberjacks to the north. And we've already been talking about the massive eco advantage of MarineLorD over here.
Yep.
So losing those villagers hurts even more for Vortix. We have 98 vills for MarineLorD and only 51 for Vortix, so almost double the economy.
So if we look at the southeast, we can actually see pretty aggressive Delhi play. They're moving across the river, and I think this is a bit of a desperation play. I think he knows that he's pretty behind. I mean, income per minute, MarineLorD is cackling in the night with like 900 gold a minute, and Vortix is sitting there with 133. So I really think he needs to push in, and maybe behind this, try and secure sacred sites, get some wall-offs, because man, like you said, MarineLorD's economy is booming. The English farms, of course, are going to be kicking in soon on top of the river. And this fight, probably going to be a decisive victory, I would say, for the English.
Absolutely, especially because they have their docks close by, so the Metons have to be very careful charging in because demos could pop out any moment.
Yeah,
speaking of demos, there might be the chance for MarineLorD. Vortix has to run away from that pond.
Not like this, bro. Don't lose him. Look, he's got all the demo ships. Oh man, this could be game blouses here. He's trying to run. He's being like pushed into his doom. Oh my god. Oh my god. The whole army got crushed. Just, what a way to end the game. We were talking about that before, dude. We were like, yeah, look at this. Have you ever seen a game end like this in a high level? And there you go, man. GG. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was like an instant GG. I feel like the game was already massively in the favor of MarineLorD, but
that was just like a flex on top, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the final nail in that coffin. He lost like 50 army over there, so yeah, in the end, the KD is massively in the favor of MarineLorD. 74 kills, 41 deaths. Part of that was that huge demo blast out there.